Welcome, everybody, to our second episode. We are no longer the Highlander Report. We are Derby City Fandom. My name is Kenny. I'm going to be your host today. Once again, I am joined by my friends Jake and Colin. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic time to be here. I'm excited to do our second episode. What about you, Jake?
It's good to see you guys, man. It's been a while. It's been a few weeks. Glad to be back.
We're back. All of us have finished the Obi-wan Kenobi series.
Yes.
Now, we're going to go more into that. I'm going to apologize for everybody that had to deal with the last episode. We had a couple of audio issues, and hopefully we'll get that sorted out in the near future. But thanks again for dropping by for a second time, hopefully. And we look forward to your all's interaction after this episode. Now, gentlemen, literally 10 minutes before you all got here, I had just finished Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, holy crap. I am impressed. I was hoping that they wouldn't fuck it up. They did not.
I really liked it. I thought the season finale was everything I expected it to be. I was waiting for that arc to finish with Obi-Wan to kind of be like, quit being a little bitch, I guess, so to speak. And he got his powers back, and I was happy to see it. Obviously, the one thing that did suck was you already kind of knew what the outcome was going to be, especially...
Oh, for sure. I mean, he has to survive for another 9 years, which it is 9 years in between the last episode of Kenobi and A New Hope.
I thought it was 10.
Pretty sure it's 9.
I'm pretty sure it's 10.
I think it's 9 because Leia is a 10-year-old.
Oh.
And they're 19 at the beginning of the film.
Okay. Well,
Fair enough. But
if I can say one more thing about it, the best part I had, the part I liked the most was to see Obi-Wan beat Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, whatever you want to say, beat him again. And, I don't know anything about the lore. I never read any of the books or, I've only strictly seen the movies. So to see him still have a step above Anakin Skywalker, which ended up just becoming Darth Vader officially, that was probably my favorite part. I mean, I just love seeing it. I think that for a while there, I'm like, oh, man, I don't know how they're going to play this out. Like, if they're going to let Obi-Wan escape somehow. But I was happy to see them do it in a way where they're like, no, Obi-Wan's still top dog.
yeah, that might be my biggest probably gripe with this series is that Obi-Wan still very much has like this persecution complex. Like everything is my fault.
Oh, do you blame him?
I mean, no, because he's correct. Everything is his fault. But he finally needed to admit to himself that it's like, okay, I messed up. This is how I'm going to try to reconcile it by making sure that at least Leia survives.
Yeah.
The best that they can.
But in the galaxy, is there anyone... Well, obviously, Obi-Wan beat Darth Vader. But is there anyone else that could be stronger? I guess Yoda's still alive. So
Yoda's still alive.
Is he still more powerful than Obi-Wan?
no, he's
Not
in exile.
really.
Pretty
He's
much.
in exile, still kind of chilling on Dagobah, probably sleeping, eating frogs,
Is there any other Jedi, though?
Ahsoka's alive.
Ahsoka
Ahsoka is still very much alive.
Where does she fall?
Whereabouts?
Where does she fall in the stack of...
She is Anakin's
Padawan.
apprentice. And she never becomes like a Jedi Master because Order 66 happens before any of that could occur. So the Council is all dead.
Well, hold
Just
on.
about.
She actually left the Jedi Order.
Did she?
Yes, she did. She left the Jedi Order. If you would have seen Clone Wars, she left because of some gripe. I don't remember exactly what happened. I'd have to rewatch Clone Wars. But
I'll have to rewatch that too.
She left because of she was set up basically for something I don't recall. But no, she left the Jedi Order and went and did her own thing, and then came back into the mix of things and joined the Bad Batch, I believe, with like Rex and everybody. And the one chick from Mandalore.
The bounty hunter chick? Or
No. She's actually a Mandalorian, but she and the Bad Batch got in, and then they were on the spaceship. Anyway, I have to rewatch it. But anyway.
Fair enough. I must have not gotten that far into that series, because...
But is she more powerful than Obi-Wan?
No.
No, so...
Okay. So it's safe to say that Obi-Wan, in terms of the galaxy, other than maybe Yoda, who's kind of in exile, he's still top dog.
So how the different Jedis work is kind of interesting within, I guess, the lore, because each of the Jedis kind of specialize into their own thing. Like, Yoda isn't particularly good at combat, but he's the best Force user.
Is that something to do with their color of their lightsaber?
That's part of it, whether or not they're Guardians, Counselors, or Sentinels.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is, I guess, extended universe kind of stuff, like the video games, the comics, like what all of that means. The Guardians, in particular, are the ones that typically have the blue lightsabers. Mm-hmm. They are the ones that are very much lightsaber combat focused.
Anakin.
So Anakin, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon.
Speaking of him, it was good to see him back. The entire time I was watching the episode, I was like, when are they going to bring him back? Because you knew they were building up to it the entire season.
Right, like they even say it in like the first episode. I mean, like, I haven't been able to contact my masters because one of the perks of being a Jedi is that you have a Force ghost after you die. So you can kind of like relay, like, you know, knowledge from beyond the grave without being too direct about it.
I'll be the first one to admit that whole build-up, I thought it was going to come during the battle sequence, or maybe before.
Like before on
like
that
when they're on
spaceship when he's like landed. I thought that was probably the best time to do it. And then have him pop in again a second time, like at the end when you do see him for the first time. Or maybe the second. He might have been that illusion on the mining planet. But
I don't know if I would say it was the best time. I think that's the time that I expected it to happen. But I was kind of... I liked how they did it. I liked seeing them at the very end. I don't know. I think it opens up a lot of options. But.
Sure. But yeah, so those three are like your quintessential Guardians, lightsaber-focused guys. You have the Counselors, which are like the Force kind of focused ones, and they're green, typically. So that is Yoda. Your Yoda, your handful of others that I'm going to blank on names. Colin, you might know a few.
Actually, I'm drawing a blank surprisingly as well, but it's
what
fine.
color was Samuel at first?
He was purple, so he's one of the special ones, because there's a couple fan theories behind why he's purple in particular.
Do you know those theories?
Well, I think the actual reason is just Samuel L. Jackson just told George Lucas he wanted purple to be his lightsaber color, so they kind of had to make up a reason for it.
I'm pretty sure that's 100% accurate.
But the supposed reason that I've heard is that the purple lightsabers is a mixture of red and blue, meaning that he can kind of dabble in the
dark side,
power sort of stuff.
Yeah,
like the raw aggression and emotion that kind of fuels that. So it's a mix. So it's like tempered, I guess, aggression.
He's a mudblood.
Right.
That's a different topic.
That's a different topic.
Star Wars.
Oh, so.
But that being said, he's one of the special ones, and I think the only other one that in lore has purple is Darth Revan, which is an extended universe bit, which I hope they at least talk about whenever the High Republic comes out, because that would be super sick. And then you have the Sentinels, which are kind of like a more jack-of-all-trades type. They're a lot more like skill-focused. They know how to do stuff with droids a lot better. They can do computer stuff.
These are Jedi?
Yes. I guess you can call them like Jedi Master like classes, so to speak.
They have a specific color?
They are yellow.
Yellow.
Yes.
Isn't there a white or something?
There's like this weird silver and like silver gray color, and that's another one that only really exists in the extended universe stuff. And
I thought
it's a mess trying to figure those out.
I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. But I'm blanking on. Is her name Soka? Is that her name?
Ahsoka.
I could have swore hers was white.
No,
she is blue
from Mandalorian. But
Yeah, she's definitely blue.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
And then my favorite, there's the dark saber.
The black ones.
Oh,
yes.
dude. That has to be an entirely different episode. We have to talk about Mandalorian, and all that history that's behind that, because that's freaking exciting to me.
So I would have to look up how the dark saber in particular falls into the Mandalorian creed part of the lore. But the idea behind the dark saber is that unless you fully trust in your own selves, your skills and in yourself, the blade becomes heavier over time, which is interesting because light does not have weight, but it's an entirely black source of light. So how does that work? There's a lot to be explored there. If they have explored into it, I have not seen anything about it, so I'm drawing a blank.
It's mentioned, and they go a little into detail, but not fully. But it's still a cool subject to definitely bring up, and we'll do that another time. But anyway, we can continue talking about Obi-Wan and what we've been happy and not happy with this entire season since the finale was tonight.
Yeah, can you go ahead?
Oh.
Your initial thoughts, what you liked, what you didn't like from the Obi-Wan series or the season finale.
Okay, so my overall thoughts, having more or less binged more than half of the season in an entire night, I do like where they go. Good lord, these Inquisitors are all fucking stupid. I mean, Reva, the third sister, her entire revenge plot is just so backwards.
Well, I honestly saw that coming. I saw her trading sides basically from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
Otherwise, there wasn't going to be much chance for Kenobi to do anything.
I saw from the beginning there wasn't really a storyline for her from the get-go. So, in order for her storyline to be interesting, you have to have, a, main character go through all this drama and all this crap, and then eventually have a moment where maybe I should not do this, And basically that's exactly what happened, and so therefore she brought young Luke back and laid him down, and turns out he's alive.
Oh, yes.
Thank God. Nobody saw that coming, right? They only have several other movies about Luke at a older age.
I think I had mentioned this before we started recording, but man, people really do seem to survive getting stabbed in the chest a lot by lightsabers. Because not only did the original Grand Inquisitor survive to basically spoil the plan and be like, oh hey, Rev is kind of a traitor.
I think they were my least favorite part. The
just
third sister and the Inquisitors in general. I mean, you guys know better.
They're all incredibly incompetent.
Yeah,
and Vader just lets them do their thing because Vader knows that the galaxy basically belongs to him and the Emperor, and he can do whatever the hell he wants, and he does.
I think it was just beyond. I don't know if their acting was bad. I think their whole overall story was messed up. Their acting was bad. So they were by far my least favorite part of the
Yeah. So I think some of that comes down to a lot of people's first interactions with the Inquisitors being a concept, being this series. Because I hate to admit it, but the animated stuff doesn't get anywhere near enough credit for its build up.
Oh, I agree. It comes off as childish, but if you get past that and actually listen and watch the storyline as it unfolds, dude, it's fantastic. I'm talking Clone Wars, Bad Batch, and all that.
You haven't seen
all that jazz, dude. It's actually really, really cool. And I do recall the last episode. That was episode 1 or 2 of Obi-Wan, where the Grand Inquisitor dies, air quotes.
Right.
Well, obviously he's alive now, so I kind of take back what I said about him dying in Star Wars Rebels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because lightsaber wounds don't matter, folks. Kind of like how fall damage doesn't exist.
Well, the Grand Inquisitor does die, just not in Obi-Wan.
Not in this one.
He will eventually die and be killed by Ezra. Or no, well, yeah, Ezra and...
I believe. It was a tag team. if I recall.
But they are looking or have already gotten an actor to play Ezra Bridger. So whenever that comes out, I'm super psyched.
Where's R2-D2? Anybody know?
R2-D2 is probably somewhere on Alderaan. Would be my guess, because you don't see him show up.
I mean, eventually
But
he makes it back to Leia.
he has to get the plans from somewhere.
He has to get back to Leia.
And he meets Leia somewhere.
I guess that. You think it's
So,
coming down the road with the next Obi-Wan series?
Now, I will expose myself here a little bit. Everybody cover their eyes.
Okay.
So, I have not seen the Rogue One.
Oh, that's by far the best one, man.
So,
oh my gosh, really?
Yes, that is the only Star Wars film I have not personally have seen. So
put your hand down.
He has.
I'm just so excited. I
have to imagine that he shows up somewhere in that film.
And C-3PO, they show up towards like the last half hour of the film.
Wait, he's in Rogue One?
C-3PO and R2-D2, yes.
I mean, at least R2-D2 would have to be, because that's how they convey the
like
plan.
when they're on the Rebel planet, I forget what the planet is called, but that's when all the Rebel forces are like, okay, we're going to go to Scarif and try and help these rebels that are on Scarif alone. And so that's when like R2-D2 and C-3PO were like, oh, they're going to Scarif, blah, 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 or whatever.
That's my favorite. Rogue One's my favorite one.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
It's unfortunate, because all those people are, guaranteed to die.
They all literally die. Every single person on Scarif literally dies.
All right. I think that was another point that I had talked about off camera here, that until Rogue One, you don't really see the Death Star fire, do any practice shots or actually do its thing until A New Hope. But I have been corrected, I believe, by Colin here.
Yeah, I corrected you before the show started. Basically, they did their demonstration, if you will. They started at Jeddah and destroyed Jeddah City. That's where the Holy Temple, and they're collecting kyber crystals to
power up
the Death Star. So they made a demonstration on Jeddah, and then again on Scarif, and that's when Darth Vader shows up.
Yeah, I guess I was kind of thinking that they were going to do very much like it was like a shot of it being built out in space somewhere, instead of it focusing on the throne planet of Mustafar for Vader, which nice touch, I think. This is where everything started for Vader, so of course that's going to be his
headquarters.
Big planet.
Yeah. I apologize for the noise.
So is there a season 2 of Obi-Wan?
Yes. Well, no.
Is it official?
It's not official. They are definitely Hayden and what's his
McGowan?
Hayden Christensen and freaking Ewan McGregor.
Gregor.
So they have talked interest in doing a season 2, but I think the crew and directors are like,
we'll see.
Well, it's basically
it's up to Disney basically. If
I don't see why they wouldn't. They kind
it's free money, and Disney has
it was fun to watch.
Budget.
Let's be real.
I
I really haven't heard any bad reviews about it so far.
No. Other than my one gripe with the Inquisitors, any of
the
the interactions when Reva and fifth son, whatever he's called, fourth brother, I don't know. The one that was always at arms with
Seventh
Reva.
brother.
Seventh?
I think.
Shit. It's one of those things.
Third
where it's
Language, damn it! This is a PG freaking podcast.
Oh hell no! I've already cursed enough.
It's alright. We're past the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, something like that, right? I think all of those scenes were probably the weakest, honestly. Whenever they were just bickering back and forth and doing space politics, the conniving, dark side stuff.
I did like I can't remember which episode it was, but they're on the water planet, the ocean planet.
That's the ocean moon. It was an ocean moon.
I like that.
I forget what that is called, but that's basically the grand of it. But Inquisitor is basically like
Inquisitorium or whatever they called it. It was
Inquisitorius.
Inquisitorius. It's a vaguely Latin name in the Mustafar system. So that water planet, or that water moon, orbits Mustafar.
Yeah.
Because that's
definitely
how that
had
works.
like a cool little castle fort, whatever you want to call
it. It's a giant obsidian obelisk in the middle of an ocean.
Man,
it's the most evil thing it could possibly be on a world that's entirely water.
I like that, and I like seeing, you could see the building of the rebellion. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, the weird path, the introduction of the path being a
I just
progenitor to the rebellion, I would suppose.
I just liked seeing. It was the episode when they're kind of in it's the woman director who's
Deborah Chow, I believe.
Deborah Chow,
but she's part of the rebellion. But Obi-Wan's in there, and he's reading the wall to see all the other Jedi. I thought that was so cool. That was so cool. I actually had to do a double take to go back and what were the names that he was mentioning, but.
I forget what the guy's name is, but he is also in Clone Wars.
We'll throw it up on screen.
I love that whole plot. So that's I love seeing the different planets, different worlds. I'm all about that. But then on top of that, just seeing the rebellion be built up, I thought that was cool.
So far, from what we've seen, that's not entirely true. So in Clone Wars, there's one or two other water world planets.
Yeah.
But so far, in the general consensus of things that most people have seen, and we've only seen 2 water planets, is the Grand Inquisitorius, whatever that one's called, and then where the clones were made.
The clones, yes.
Now, that city is freaking cool because you got a small little city up on top of the water.
Yeah, they're weird
everything
saucers
underneath
is entirely just pylons.
It's insane. They literally have little tubes that get you from one end of the city to the other that.
Yeah, a little subway system, because you can't go outside. It's just a constant hurricane or something, right?
Pretty much.
But
then it gets destroyed by the Empire, which was a really dope scene to watch. And the Bad Batch, by the way.
Yep.
I'm telling you, Jake, you need to watch this stuff.
We're going to have to sit you down and we'll flip a coin. I say we would start with the Clone Wars because that's probably more important. But the Bad Batch is solid. Rebels is solid.
I think Rebels needs to be a third watch, but definitely start with Clone Wars.
Yeah. I think that's the order of if they were released anyways, just about.
Whatever.
But, yeah. That's some pretty solid stuff. I enjoy the idea that Vader, the Vader part of Anakin Skywalker, is still so obsessed with trying to beat Obi-Wan. Because he never did when Anakin was alive, so this is how Vader, properly, takes over, entirely. It's okay, if I can beat Obi-Wan, then Darth Vader is stronger than Anakin Skywalker by default at that point.
I love seeing him being Darth Vader lose again. I could have swore going into it that they were going to make Obi-Wan lose somehow, but be able to escape. Obviously, he had to escape because he lives, but I was so happy to see him actually beat him again.
Yeah.
That made me very happy. It was bold.
I have to praise the cinematography that they use in that scene when the mask is half off.
Half off, cut in half, and the lightsaber light. So
yeah,
part of it was red and blue for Vader.
So you get both interactions with Anakin and Darth Vader. And you can tell who is talking in that particular moment by the lights of the lightsaber.
Right.
Whenever Anakin is somewhat in control again, it's blue. When Darth Vader is in the process of taking back over, it goes back to red, and the voice gets mechanical again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I'm glad that.
Excellent choice there.
Does he know about Luke and Leia?
I don't think so. Unless that appears
He has
in
to
something
find out,
I have
right?
not seen. He learns somewhere that at least Luke is his son, because otherwise that scene does not make sense.
Does he know anything about Leia at all? I mean, obviously Luke does. Where he finds
I don't believe he knows about Leia as much as he knows about Luke.
So, at the end of season 1 of Obi-Wan, do you think he knows about Luke, or do you think he's still kind of oblivious?
That might
I bet he's
be...
oblivious.
Not oblivious. I don't think oblivious.
I don't think he's oblivious, because he is very much quite able to determine like who is like force sensitive around him, which is why he knows that Obi-Wan is on like that vessel that leaves like the ship that's trying to get away. Be like, okay, that is clearly Obi-Wan over there. Not only because it's just one signature on it, but it's just like, come on. He's like the strongest person at the moment other than himself. Anywhere near.
Can we at least agree? Now, clearly, this is the Emperor manipulating, but we can at least agree that Emperor knows about both Luke and Leia.
I mean, he has to, right?
Right.
100%. What does he have to? Explain.
So it comes down to a part of like the prophecy, I guess, just in general, because Darth Sidious, Plagueis the Wise, Bane. Basically, there's like an entire line of Sith Lords that knows, like, okay, the Skywalkers somewhere is going to basically like bring balance back, which is why he was kind of determined to get Anakin on his side so that he could kind of get ahead of that.
And it clearly backfires.
Which backfires because, good Lord, when you're casually dating Natalie Portman, things happen.
I don't blame him.
I don't blame him at all, right? When
dating and then married and then got pregnant. Oops.
Within like a series of on screen 10 minutes.
Yeah, they're collective
which it
whole...
takes over a 9-month span at least, right? But it rather quick that shotgun wedding feel, that space shotgun wedding. So yeah, on some level the Emperor knows that the kids exist. Now, you could say this is a potential plot point for a second series for Obi-Wan, because Third Sister did walk out with the little hologram recording of the kids are alive.
Yeah.
So there's proof, physical proof, outside of her still being alive.
Yeah, but she's not gonna turn that over to Vader or anybody.
Not knowingly. But she's still alive.
Sure. Yeah, no, she's definitely still alive. So
she's the worst.
Yeah.
Y'all keep hating on the Inquisitors, but I actually like the Inquisitors. I think their storyline's dope, particularly the Grand Inquisitor.
I don't feel like this series did them enough justice.
I agree with that.
I think it's a poor.
But I'm basing
showing.
my opinion off what I've seen in the animated
everything else
series.
everything else that they're in is
based
golden,
on Obi-Wan. I agree with Jake. It's just who these cats? Who cares?
And in my defense, that's the only reference I have of them is Obi-Wan. So I've never seen Clone Wars. I've never seen any of that.
That's what I'm saying. You need to watch
brand
that.
new.
You need to watch that shit.
Yes. We'll have to get a clock. We'll show it up on screen here saying number of days till we convince Jake to watch Clone Wars.
Please.
And we'll just reset the clock at the moment that he finally watches it.
Well, what's today's date? Today's June 23rd, so...
Date the podcast, why don't you?
Yeah. I'm gonna put him on the spot on this podcast. June 23rd, Jake has not seen any of the animated series.
Start the clock, show meme of Pacific Rim.
So when he finally finishes it out, I'm gonna call him out on that date too.
Fair enough. Okay, so hopefully with all of that out of the way, I don't think that they did a great job representing the Inquisitors.
I disagree, but
you
at the same
disagree,
time,
Colin?
I'm basing everything off of the animated series. They didn't do a terrible job. They could have done better, but I'm happy with it. Moses Ingram, the actress that played Reva, I think she did a spectacular job.
I think she did a great job acting. I don't think she was necessarily written the best, but
it's fine.
It's hard to portray emotion when you're both good and evil in the Force.
I've never seen the animated series, so maybe I was kind of confused and lost regarding all those characters. Not necessarily. I mean, I still kind of stand by it. I don't like the acting was the best, but I don't know. I think it was more probably what you said, Kenny. Maybe their writing was just off.
Yeah. It is Disney. They have infinite money. They're going to make a second season. They have no reason not to.
They have no reason not to.
They have no reason not to.
I really liked it. I hope they do. I thought it was fun, especially seeing Obi-Wan still being top dog.
Yeah.
So,
still being the top dog, wandering off into the wilderness, into the horizon. Now, do we have any other closing thoughts about, I guess, the series as a whole, guys?
Season 2.
Go ahead, Jake.
Season 2, I would love to see Obi-Wan meet up with Yoda.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I would love to see it.
I feel you. I would love to see it too, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think he's been in exile. He's ashamed of everything that's happened. So
he is partially at fault.
But I feel like he knows where he's at, right? Because
Well,
he's the
yeah.
one that sends Skywalker or Luke to him. So I feel like they're gonna meet up. I feel like it could be that he just knows. But.
Yeah, I guess you are correct. They do have to find a way to write in how Obi-Wan knows that he's on Dagobah. Because I think the only people that he tells that to is Chewbacca and his father on Kashyyyk. Right before he leaves, which is the last time you see him.
That's not true.
No?
You see Yoda. They meet up on that asteroid belt kind of deal, and that's where Natalie Portman's giving birth.
Oh, he's in the room.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's in the room. So they have some interaction with Senator Organa, Obi-Wan, and so Senator Organa's like, "I'll adopt
We'll
the
take
girl
Leia.
because my wife and I have always wanted a girl," and then Obi-Wan's like, I'll just take.
Well, I'll take Luke and do my best.
I'll watch over the boy.
He has
basically.
no plan. he literally has no plan to be
100% pulls this out of his ass. Is like, dude, if something happens, I've got it. And then a few years go by. I mean, basically, he hasn't been training. He didn't do anything that Yoda says. Like, hey, I've got some training you need to do to meet up with the old friend of yours talking about Qui-Gon. And he's like, oh. He looks enthusiastic about it at the end of Revenge of the Sith, but it looks like when we go into the Obi-Wan series, he's basically not been doing what Yoda instructed him to do.
Yeah, that goes into a little bit of what we talked about in our previous episode of the podcast, like him being kind of washed up and a lot of self-doubt.
100%.
So yeah, give that first episode of the podcast a listen, I suppose, as well. We'll throw it back a little bit there.
For sure. But I definitely want to hear what our listeners have to say. So
yeah,
when we eventually get something up on a website,
me, I'm the one that
or Kenny. But anyway, I definitely want to hear what our listeners have to say, or if basically we're just talking to mics and full of shit. So, yeah, I definitely want to hear what they have to say, and I'll let you all have your last words.
All right.
Finish this beer.
Fair enough. Jake, any last thoughts for our listeners here?
I really like the Obi-Wan series. I think season 2, he's either going to meet up with Yoda or R2-D2. That's what I would like to see. But
I would love just to see Obi-Wan interact with Ahsoka again. I think that would be pretty fun. But otherwise, I don't know. I am content with where it ended because not everything in Star Wars needs an explanation. because part of it's just space magic, right? So you can just write it off as whatever. But that's just me. If we do see him again, I just hope that we get maybe some more spectacle. I feel like there wasn't enough. But that's where I'm going to kind of end that thought. Thank you again, everybody, for listening to our podcast. We are the Derby City Fandom. We're rebranding live.
I still think we're the Highlander Report.
Oh, whatever. You're wrong.
Wow.
Wow. Roll credits.
Wow.
Roll credits.
See you, everybody.
Thank you for your time.